Hi there, and welcome. Today, I'm going to tell you a longer story. A story that will help you practice your English listening, but also maybe inspire you a little bit. This is the story of a young man named Ethan, and how one unexpected journey changed his entire life. Ethan was 28 years old. He lived in a quiet town where not much ever happened. He had a job at a tech company, worked from home most of the time, and had a very regular life. Every day looked almost the same. Wake up, make coffee, check emails, attend meetings, eat lunch alone, scroll through social media, and go to sleep. It wasn't a bad life, but it felt empty. He used to have big dreams. When he was younger, he wanted to travel the world, learn languages, meet people from different cultures. But life, as it often does, had other plans. After university, he took the first job he could get. 1 year became 2. 2 years became 6. And now here he was, almost 30, wondering where the time had gone. One day, something strange happened. Ethan received a letter. Not an email, not a text, an actual letter, in the mailbox, with his name written in beautiful handwriting. Inside, there was a message that said, "You have been chosen for a journey. Say yes, and be ready in 3 days. The car will arrive at 8 a.m. There was no signature, no explanation, just those words. At first, Ethan thought it was a prank. Maybe one of his friends was joking. But the handwriting felt too personal, too real. And something in his heart told him this was meant for him. He couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, he barely slept. The next day, he kept looking at the letter. By the second night, he had made a decision. He would say yes. 3 days later, Ethan stood outside his house at exactly 8 a.m. A black car stopped in front of him. The driver rolled down the window and smiled. "Are you Ethan?" the man asked. "Yes," Ethan said. "Then let's go." He got into the car, not knowing where he was going. But for the first time in years, he felt alive. They drove for hours. The city turned into small towns, then open roads, then forests. By sunset, they reached a small cabin near a lake. The driver handed him a backpack and a key. "This is your home for now," he said. "The rest is up to you." The cabin was simple. 1 room, a bed, a fireplace, a notebook on the table, and a message on the wall. You don't need Wi-Fi to connect. You just need to listen. Ethan stayed in that cabin for 10 days. No internet. No phone. Just nature, silence, and the notebook. Each day he wrote. At first, it was difficult. What would he even write about? But little by little, memories came. Thoughts. Feelings. Dreams he had forgotten. He wrote about his childhood, about the friends he lost contact with, about his first love, and his first heartbreak, about how he always wanted to learn to play the guitar but never did, about the trip to Italy he planned but never took, about the words he never said to his father before he passed. He cried. He laughed. He sat by the lake and watched the sunset every evening. He listened to the birds in the morning, and the wind in the trees at night. On day 10, there was another note under the door. "Pack your things. It's time for part 2. This time, Ethan was taken to a small town by the mountains. There, he was welcomed by a group of people from different parts of the world. They were all strangers, but they shared something in common. They had all said yes to a letter. Together, they cooked, told stories, helped build houses for local families, learned new words in different languages, and danced under the stars. Ethan met people who spoke with passion, who lived with intention, people who had lost everything, and people who had started again. And in each story, he found a piece of himself. One evening, he met an older woman named Anna, who had been a doctor in her country before the war. She said something that stayed in Ethan's mind. "We all wait for the perfect moment, but life is not a schedule. It's a feeling. If it feels right, do it." That night, Ethan looked at the stars and made a promise. When he returned home, He wouldn't go back to the same life. He would make changes. Real changes. After 30 days of traveling, reflecting, learning, and reconnecting with the world, Ethan finally went back to his city. But something was different. Everything looked the same, but he had changed. He quit his job. He started working part-time as a freelance translator, something he had always dreamed of doing. He volunteered at a local language exchange group, helping immigrants learn English and learning Spanish from them. He started playing the guitar. He called his old friends. He forgave the people who had hurt him. He spoke to his mother more often. And every day, he wrote in a new notebook. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. Now you might ask, was the letter real? Who sent it? Why him? Ethan never found out. Maybe it was a social experiment. Maybe it was a random act of kindness. Or maybe it was the universe giving him the push he needed. But he didn't need answers. Because in the end, it didn't matter how the journey started. What mattered was what he learned, and how he decided to live afterward. Thank you for listening to Ethan's story. Take a moment now to reflect. What would you do if you received a mysterious letter asking you to say yes to something unknown? Would you go? Would you trust? Or would you stay in the same place, doing the same things? Maybe you don't need a letter. Maybe you just need to ask yourself, what kind of life do I really want? Because sometimes, one decision can open a new world. Replay this video if you want to keep practicing your listening. And remember, your journey can start anytime, even now. See you in the next story.